Well, guys, unfortunately, we're seeing the collapse of yet another country. We have saw the collapse of Afghanistan in 2021. We have saw Ukraine nearly collapsed. We could have saw, Armenia, I don't know, Lebanon or something, Palestine. All these countries were in the midst of civil war. Sudan was also in major conflict. But now we see another escalation during this time. And yeah, I mean, it's an actual serious escalation that has led to various different consequences. Syria's government has just fallen into the hands of rebel forces. Yep, the same rebel forces that tried to overthrow the government in 2011 during the Arab Spring and the initial start of the Syrian civil war. Yeah, these forces were pushed back by government forces. The government of Syria is led by Bashar al Assad, who is a big opponent to democracy in Syria. He was the person that had an iron fist, controlling Syria like if it's his own place to live. And he was hated by the people. That's why there were several rebels against him. But thanks to Iran and Russia, and also partly thanks to Hezbollah, a militant group in southern Lebanon that is supported by Iran and against Israel, that's pretty much what all the Arab world is against, but mostly Iran. Yeah, so they all started supporting the Assad regime thanks to the Russian Air Force. Assad regained control over most of the country. Unfortunately, things would take an immediate U turn. Now, in 2020, most fighting stopped, and I thought the Syrian civil war is just a frozen conflict. Literally, everybody thought about that. That'll be frozen. Nobody expected the civil war, however, to just restart again. But Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, and most of the Russian forces headed back to Russia to fight against Ukraine. And Syria's forces were thinking that, hooray, we won the war, let's go, and they started resting. But the thing is, most of Syria's soldiers are just conscripts without any fighting capability. They lost all that. And Iran was also busy with their own stuff, and Israel invaded Lebanon, so Hezbollah was distracted. Now, recently, there was a ceasefire agreement between Hezbollah, and Israel, which led to the establishment of a truce ending the war. But on the same day that the war ended, the Syrian rebel forces present in the Idlib province, led by HTS, a rebel group that is an Islamist rebel group kind of associated with Al Qaeda, but for some reason they had the idea to be kind of, not more aggressive to, minority communities. They decided to respect the rights of Christians all of a sudden, and they became very popular. And then all of a sudden, on the 27th of November, just a few days ago, they started attacking Syrian lines heading towards Aleppo. Now, major cities started to be taken, and all of a sudden, all major towns near Aleppo started being taken by the rebels. The Syrian army was immediately caught off guard, and then Aleppo fell on the 29th. And it was a shocking development. Russia was busy in Ukraine, and there was threats of nuclear war literally happening. And in this time, Russia is losing an ally. Or we may have not thought about that because most of Syria's armed forces were in the south near Damascus defending that city. So you may have thought that's the end. Aleppo is taken and the Syrian army is going to stabilize the situation and stop the rebel offense. No! Apparently, the Syrian army headed towards the next major city along the M5 highway that linked Aleppo with Damascus, the two major cities of Syria. With Aleppo being taken, along the M5 highway, rebels advanced towards the next city of Hama. But this city, the Syrians actually kind of fought for some time. And yeah, we expected it all. They can't lose control over this city. It's a major city, linking Assad's major support base of the Alawite community in the coastal areas of Syria to the main country. So Syria is never going to lose this area until we all got blown away because the rebels conducted a pincer attack from both sides, and Hama literally was abandoned. With all the cities being abandoned, the Syrians are not giving up a fight. and thousands of weapons fell into the hands of the rebels. With this, several tanks, several new rockets and artillery, all those type of stuff and weapons were headed straight towards the rebel pockets. After that, things were over. The Assad government was falling, right? Well, they had last one hope left. Homs. This city was one of the major cities along the periphery of Syria near the Lebanon border. It's a major city and it's under the control of the Assad regime. So you may think they're not going to lose control over this city. This is the last link. And yeah, until unfortunately rebel forces all of a sudden revolted in the south. The major city of Dara fell to the rebels, and now they were marching straight towards Damascus. From the north, Homs was falling as government forces were diverted towards Damascus in the south because that was important. And then the Kurds decided to join in and cross the Euphrates River. Even worse, the US allied Free Syrian Army headed from the east and captured Palmyra in the desert. And they also headed straight towards Damascus, encircled. And I thought, no, there's going to be a huge battle of Damascus. What's going to happen? Russia, no, please help your ally, bro. And then Iran, it's going to defend Syria like if it's its major ally that needs its support. I mean, Hezbollah is literally going to be separated if Syria falls. Israel is going to take advantage of the situation and do something. Iran, do something. But then Iran just became silent. They were pulling out troops from their own ally. And then the news came today that Damascus has fallen. Assad has fled the country, and Syria has all of a sudden changed its government. Basically, HTS, the Free Syrian Army, all these different rebel factions, they took control over the country. And also, one fun fact is that most of the Syrian army that was, rebel allied was actually supported by Turkey. And numerous foreign fighters from Central Asia, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Albania, all these countries which are, the most allied with Turkey. Even Uyghurs from China, the repressed Turkish faction in China, these groups all of a sudden decided to join in and help the Free Syrian Army. So now, basically, Syria is a Turkish puppet now. I think many of you might not realize, but yeah, it's basically a Turkish takeover of Syria in just 10 days. Yeah, unfortunately, it happened right in front of our very eyes. And now, to spoil everybody, Israel is also invading Syria. They're invading through the Golden Heights. And all of a sudden, they're invading Syria to establish a buffer zone so that Iran doesn't do any suspicious activities or something like that. Assad's flight could also be shot down, and apparently people are saying that he's dead now. What is happening? And all these updates literally came minutes ago while I was recording this video. And gosh damn it, bro, I was never expecting this many updates all of a sudden since my last video. And yeah, unfortunately, the situation has ended. At least we're finally there. It's possible that Latakia and Tartus may have also fell. There's no confirmation of that, but if they finally fell, then the Syrian civil war, lasting 14 bloody years, is finally over. And the fact is, it's pretty shocking to me that this type of offensive could still happen during this point. But one thing that I kind of saw with the Syrian civil war is that there's literally no end. Syria is still divided into multiple factions. Yeah, the rebels might have been united, but remember, there's an Islamic faction, HTS, there's a Free Democratic faction, the Free Syrian Army, supported by the US. There are other types of governments that are being supported by Turkey that are fighting against the YPJ and the, Syrian army in the north, that's the Kurdish army, that also hates the Turks. So, is the conflict truly over? I really can't tell. And remember, while I was watching Pushpa 2, there was a weird scene in the movie that Bandar Singh Shekhawat, the bald man, He asked Pushpa to say sorry, and he said sorry, and everybody thought it was over. Bandar Singh Shekhawat won, and yeah, that was basically a sop. But then the rebel forces, let's imagine they're just, Pushpa, all of a sudden come back. They throw Bandar Singh Shekhawat into a swimming pool and pee on him. And he lost. Then he blew himself up, Bandar Singh Shekhawat. We really don't know if it's going to be this type of situation. Yeah. It would be though funny though if it's exactly going to end up like this situation, the Syrian civil war. But yeah, rest in peace to everybody who has died in this very long, bloody civil war that has lasted 14 years, and I feel very sorry to those who have been misguided in the civil war, mistreated by Assad. I really don't like what has happened in Syria over the past few days, and I feel sorry, but yeah. Anyways, that's made the proud Indian. Hope Syria recovers, and let's hope nothing else wrong happens in Syria, and I hope everything becomes good. Anyways, bye.